Hey everyone, DJ Alessandrini here, and welcome to another episode of the Rookie Mazda tutorial series. I think I call it something different every time, but it's the same thing. We're just going over this week's track, and I share my tips and tricks with you and try to help some people go faster and have a lot more fun this week. This track races pretty well. It's a lot of fun. And if you would like to see more content like this, subscribe, like, leave a comment, blah, 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 blah. But basically subscribe, hit the bell, so you're alerted every Monday at noon when this comes out, noon Eastern. And then we can have a conversation about driving in the comments. I could talk about driving all day. So let's have a conversation and see if we can figure out some weaknesses in your driving, or just talk about this awesome race you had the other day on this track. I've had a lot of fun this last week interacting with people in the comments for the last tutorial. So this is actually the third time I've recorded this because I keep messing up the audio and video settings, unfortunately. And it's a little bit of a shame that I keep messing it up because I'm trying to hurry this up because I have to go catch a plane. I'm going to Coda the weekend before this will launch. I'm going out there to race in Grid Life Touring Cup. That's the series I mostly participate in. And there'll be a live stream of some capacity. I'm not sure what the quality will be of it. But if I deem it's worthy of watching at all, I'll post the video links in the comments. And if not, then just know I had an awesome time and it was a blast. All right, let's dive into the lap here. All right, so hold on, Streamlabs. Okay, all right, so just staying fourth throughout this straightaway here. And we're going to brake at the tire marks, or about a car length after the 100, or a couple car lengths after the 100, which is about, you see a little whiteboard right there. I don't know how that's showing up on video, but there's a whiteboard right here. There's a whiteboard right there, right there, right there. So the fourth one before the tower is when we're braking, or the tire marks. And now the reason I'm giving you a secondary brake marker is when you pick something on the track as your brake marker, if somebody's in front of you and you can't see the brake marker, you're more likely to run into them. Now, the thing I do in this scenario is I'm rarely trying to pass somebody on turn one unless they made a mistake on the previous corner. But I'll move off to the right just to see the tire tracks because they go all the way across the track. I'll move off to the right just to see where they are and then fall back in line. Just so the guy takes a normal line through the corner, because I don't want to slow him down, because that means I'm going to be under attack from the people behind me. So I'll poke out just to see the braking, and I'll come back in. So now I have a better idea of where I should be braking, and I'll give myself a little leeway too, so I don't run into the guy in front of me. But the main passing zone on this track is the back straight. That's where all your passing is going to happen basically, unless the guy in front of you makes a mistake. And if he makes a mistake, then game on, I guess. But all right, so we brake at the tire marks here. And you see some dirt right here on the edge of turn one. And that's where we're going to want to have our car. We're going to want to have our car right next to this dirt. And that's when you're also going to be getting into power. So we broke at the tires. We twisted the car in at an angle where when we get to the apex, we're at this dirt here, and then we're getting on power, and the power should bring us all the way to the edge of the track. And if it doesn't bring you all the way over, then either you were on power too late or you turned in too late. But generally, if you have your car at this angle on this dirt here and you get in power, you'll be able to dial in if you went in power too early or too late based on where you end up on the edge of the track. So if you use every last inch of the track, cool. Just do that every lap. If you didn't find yourself moving to the edge of the track involuntarily because of the throttle, then you need to get on throttle earlier. If you had to lift so you don't go off, then you were in throttle too early. So that's a good way to start dialing in your approach to each corner. And the race is going to change throughout what you do is going to change throughout the race because of changing tire conditions, the draft, stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, we're heading over to turn 2 here. After turn 1, you're going to hustle the car all the way to the right as far as you can to not impact your turn in for the second hand. Excuse me, for the left-hander here. But you're not going to focus so hard on getting to the right that you miss turning into this left-hander. So you're just going to get to the right as far as you can before you turn in left. You're going to be close to the curbing. And you're just trying to time when you get on throttle. You're going to be running across this curbing. You're going to try to time when you get on throttle to use every last inch of track. Again, the tricky thing here is on cold tires, the rear really wants to come around on this off-camber left-hander. And you're going to want to open this wheel and modulate the throttle to make sure the front end follows where the rear goes. You don't want to leave a bunch of wheel in the car because you're going to risk spinning. So you'll see as when I hit play here, I'm going to be opening the wheel to the right, and that's going to allow the front end of the car to follow where the rear of the car is going, which makes it turn into a 4-wheel slide, which is a lot of fun. And I'm timing up my throttle to push me to the last inch of track. And the last inch of track is actually almost a whole car width off the track because your right tires can go on this green here. Just make sure that to avoid the off track, which starts right here where the mouse is, I'm like drawing the line where the off track is, that you're able to get the car back onto the curbing so you avoid that off track. All right. We're turning this into as much of a straight line as we can. And you'll see some yellow grass over here. There's a point where it stops and starts. That's where we're braking. Right where let's see if we can get a better view of it, but it's right where right where it comes and stops, somewhere in this area. It's just before the 50. And that's where we're braking. And you'll see similar to turn 1. See how it's all green grass, and then it's a little bit of grass that looks like it's been used and abused. We're putting our car in the same spot. And to make it even easier for you, that's also when we're getting in power. So getting in power, you're staying tight as you can through this. If the car pushes wide here, you got in power a little early. If you could drive into the grass if you wanted to, then you got in power a little too late. Car should be at the limit, hugging the inside curbing. And then from here, we're driving a straight line to the next braking zone. You're not driving on the left here because it kind of makes like a boomerang shape. So that's just extra distance. We're just driving from point A to point B. So from the exit of that corner all the way into the braking zone up here. And we're braking just after the 100. We'll pause it when we're there. Leave it in 4th gear. It's faster. Unless you have a huge run on somebody, then 5th gear might make sense. So in between the 100 and the 50 is about where you brake on fresh tires. As the race progresses, you'll have to start backing that up. And you know if you braked in the right spot, if you can barely get the car to the apex. If you weren't able to get the car to the apex, you broke too late. If it was too easy getting the car to the apex, then you broke too early. And now we're getting in power. The moment where we can barely get the car back to the right to flick into the left-hander coming up. And with this left-hander, we want to grab this curbing and be a little bit in power. And it unloads the inside rear tire, and it causes the car to like pivot a little bit. So it changes the direction of the car really quickly. And then now because the direction of the car is changed quickly, we can take wheel out of the car and then fully commit into throttle. So we'll see that. So the car pivots, and then I can fully commit into throttle, and you're using all the track here and then some. You can drag your right side tires a tiny bit in the dirt there. Any more than a tiny bit is an off track. And we're staying in this trajectory to open up the track as much as possible for this left-hander, and you're basically turning in right to miss this grass. And we're using as much of this track as we can. So we started wide, we're coming up, we're going to run over this inside curbing, and then you're getting on power again to use every last inch of track. And just like turn 2, you can drop your right side tires on the green here. But be careful. If you get in power too early, you'll have this wall to answer to, and that wall is very mean and it hates you. This wall right here. See how it's running parallel to the track, and then it just sticks out just in spite of your good time you're having. So be careful dropping tires in the grass here. There's a big magnet over here with a villain trying to pull your aluminum car into it. So he's figured out weird aluminum magnet technology. It's crazy. So if you don't react quick enough that you got on power too early, and the reaction is obviously you just lift a little bit and then get back into it, right? If you don't react quick enough, you're going to wreck your car here. Don't wreck your car. Finish the race. Have a good time. Laugh with your buddies. If you recognize that you got in power too early, as soon as possible, it doesn't impact your straightaway speed as much as if you recognized it later. And also the lift can be smaller. So it's important to recognize if you got in power too early. And it's also important to recognize if you got in too late, because then you can, dial up the aggression a little bit the next lap. All right, leave it in third gear here. It's not a good brake marker here. Sorry, I can't really figure anything out. But you're going to kind of brake at a diagonal here, and that's just to carve a little distance. And the reason why you're doing that is the radius for this corner doesn't really matter, because you're not going onto a big straightaway. So you're just cutting out distance on the braking here. So you're cutting out distance on the braking here, and it's really easy to overload the front tires. So this is just something that you guys are going to have to practice. There's not a good braking marker. There's not a good angle to come in. It's kind of you're going to feel if you did it correctly corner. And you're getting in power here when you can hustle the car back to 3/4 of the track on the left. You don't want to go all the way to this white line. You can't use that extra speed that you'll have coming out of this corner. You'll just cost more time delaying to get in throttle to be able to get over there than you would if it's just 3/4. 3/4 is the sweet spot. So 3/4, and then you're just twisting the car in again. Put the right front tire on the curbing as you're leaving this. It helps change the weight on the car, help rotate, put down power. And you're going to get in power to drive the front left tire onto this curbing, and then you'll hustle it off of the curbing to avoid that off track. And then this corner, it gets pretty loose, but just modulate the throttle. I don't think I'm full throttle here. Look, I think I'm already out of it a little bit. See, I'm just, because the rear end's sliding, so I just pulled out of the throttle just a little bit, just because I can't open the wheel that much because I'll run out of track. And then through here, the best tip I have is use the green out here. I see a lot of people just running along this curbing. Now, get on power when you can run out into this green, and you can even tickle the dirt a little bit, but be very careful. This dirt is super slippery. All right, and that's a lap of Okayama full. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe so you can check out all the future videos, and check out some of the past videos. There's some nuggets in there, just some Miata knowledge, some driving nuggets. You never know when somebody's going to say something that makes that light bulb go off in your head. But thank you for making me a part of your driving journey. Again, this was DJ Allison Drini, and we're going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to wish you a great week, and happy racing, guys. Have a bunch of fun.